so you had this story with the president of Harvard who just, plagiarized all the things apparently. They think it's okay, the left does, because that's all they do. I mean, for crying out loud, you got a guy sitting in the White House who plagiarized. He had to drop out of a presidential race because he was plagiarized. He got caught plagiarizing. And this is a serious thing because these are Harvard's own actual rules. I mean, this is literally what Harvard's rules are. So now you have this defense. They're trying to circle the wagon. She was hit with 6 new charges of plagiarism. Claudine Gay was. So you have these 6 new charges. It was a complaint that was filed with the university. They said that 17 of her published works have already been impacted by this scandal. They said the new charges were not previously reported. Now, and there's an 8th one. You have this 2001 article in which she literally lifts a half a page of material verbatim from a scholar named David Cannon, who is a political science professor at the University of Wisconsin. And the article was titled "The Effect of Minority Districts and Minority Representation on Political Participation in California." And they look at, this is crazy. She literally took 4 sentences from his 1999 book on race, and she doesn't cite him. He doesn't appear anywhere in the bibliography, nowhere. Beyond that, her footnotes, the Beacon reported, were copied verbatim from his endnotes. Like, she didn't even write her own footnotes. She just copied everything absolutely verbatim. Verbatim. Like, for instance, the Voting Rights Act, this is David Cannon, quote, "The Voting Rights Act is often cited as one of the most significant pieces of civil rights legislation passed in our nation's history." This is Claudine Gay. "The Voting Rights Act of 1965 is often cited as one of the most significant pieces of civil rights legislation passed in our nation's history." Here's another. I know. This is David Cannon. "The central parts of the VRA are Section 2 and Section 5. The former prohibits any state or political subdivision from imposing a voting practice that will deny or abridge the right of any citizen of the United States to vote on the account of race or color, and the latter was imposed only on covered jurisdictions with a history of past discrimination. They have to submit changes in any electoral process or mechanism to the federal government." She writes, this is Claudine Gay, quote, "The central parts of the measure are Section 2 and Section 5. They say that prohibits any state or political subdivision from adopting voting. I mean, literally the same. It is the same. I mean, we go on and on and on. She has so many examples of this. So it took them no time to complete this review. Obviously, it didn't take them long at all to complete this review because it's so obvious. I mean, they had her dissertation. She lifted a full sentence from her thesis advisor to describe a mathematical model. She doesn't cite anybody. She doesn't give any attributions to anybody. She just takes their whole, there are so many examples, page after page after page after page after page. Now, when you get to this level of academics, you know that you are to cite your work. Everybody knows this. I mean, this is like basic humanity. This is basic writing and college garbage 101. Everybody, you cite everything. In fact, there are entire classes in college that are requirements for underclassmen that teach you how to cite things properly. I mean, my kid in college has to take a whole thing, which is so stupid, but to cite things, they teach it in high school. So there's no excuse on sloppy attribution. That doesn't exist. There's plagiarism and there's not plagiarism. When you get to be this level in academics, there's no sloppy attributions. I just forgot to give credit. There's none of that. This was on purpose. And the sad thing about this is that it also highlights the low standards that the left has for itself. Someone was asking online, well, just wait until a right-leaning academic decides. There's no such thing as a right-leaning academic. And I don't say that as a way to insult the intelligence of the right. The flattery of this educational iconography, we just don't get into. We just don't do all that stuff. I mean, we don't treat our universities and these educational institutions as substitutes for church, which is what these people do. This is like their ministerium. I don't know what to call it. It's crazy. And so there's 25 pages. Just the newest charges, there are 25 pages. So now apparently everybody's trying to redefine all the wording, all the verbiage. They're trying to make very interesting phrases to say plagiarism without saying plagiarism, like the audio that we just played for you as we were coming into this segment. Well, how did they say it, Kane? She just borrowed it. Yeah. What?
It's not like she stole anything.
She didn't steal it because that would, that would give
borrowed it.
Yeah, she borrowed it because that would cast aspersions onto her character, which is apparently racist to do so. Even though this is something that she did herself. I mean, she did it herself. So she wasn't accused of stealing their ideas. She's accused of copying them without attribution. Well, there's no such thing as copying without attribution is plagiarizing. It's so goofy. Now listen to this. Mara Gay, again, they're making all the gays look bad. Audio soundbite 4. Listen to this.
That's why these presidents are under attack. That's why Claudine Gay was under attack. The fact that she's a black woman and the first person who is a black American to lead Harvard only added to their thirst to dethrone her. And, those attacks, I don't have to say that they're racist because you can hear and see the racism in the attacks when people like Vivek Ramaswamy say, okay, this is a problem about diversity in hiring. I mean, this is racism.
It's racism. How is it racism? That's the $1 million question. How is it racism? I mean, it's rhetorical because it's not. And the idea that that's going to be now the excuse. And Mara Gay, what was this on MSNBC? Because Claudine Gay resigned. And they said the fact that she had to do so, that's just, it's an attack. Al Sharpton came out. He had a statement saying that, how did he put it? This was it's an attack on black women everywhere. I would think that it's an attack on plagiarism. Your race is irrelevant. But are you trying to say now that you can't expect minorities in academic institutions to present original work? That you're going to redefine the rules and lower the bar of expectation, which to me signals, if you want to have an actual example of racism, the fact that you think that people of color can't meet the same level of standards that everyone else can, that's actual racism. You're lowering your expectations for someone else based upon their ethnicity, which makes you very clannish. We have a lot more on this too, because they are circling the wagons. But I think this was it was a win, but yet it's kind of Pyrrhic, and here's why. She's keeping her package. You guys heard this, right? She's legit keeping her almost $1 million salary. So she's resigning, but she's keeping all her money. As the New York Post that had that piece. Can you imagine how many scholarships that would actually pay for at Harvard? Can you imagine? And she wasn't vetted beforehand. That's crazy to me. Yeah, she's getting it's actually over, New York Post says it's 800,000, but it's over 800,000. It's like 900 something 30, I think in total it's a $1.3 million package with her benefits and everything else. She gets to keep all of it. She lied to get her job and she gets to keep all of it. Now, I don't know what caveats were placed on it, but yeah, she's just wild.